Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
Pete.
And I'm Giff.
Pete, I couldn't even hear you there. Are you close enough to your mic?
Yeah, I'm Pete.
There we
That
go.
better? That better?
Well, yeah, barely. Like you seem far away.
I was
so
giving a little sign there when I said I'm Pete there.
You know,
So
the
flashing-
listener can't see that.
I know, but
Flashing
you guys.
Christmas signs or what? What do we got going? Is that like a
No, it's just like
little tinsel? I
Little
see.
tinsel.
Okay.
that's what I call my tinsel.
All right.
Speaking of Christmas, Gifford, we had a fun time last week. Congratulations again to Dave from Totally 80s and 90s Recall, who snuck it out over me in that tiebreaker. It was a tough one to take, but I'm happy for him. So
Yeah, always nice.
feel
when
good about
guests
that
come
initial
on.
game you made there, Gifford.
I feel pretty proud of it. Yeah, I think it was all right. You know, it didn't take to the last clue every time, which is good, which means I didn't make it too horribly difficult.
Everybody got a point.
It was perfectly challenging. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Well
good.
done. So if you don't know what we're talking about, missed it, go back last week and listen to our Christmas initials game hosted by Gifford. But we're going to carry on the Christmas spirit tonight. I'm drinking. I had a Mick Golden, the traditional, which I think Gifford probably has, but I switched to a Surly Winterized because it's really cold today. And I felt like I should have something a little more seasonal and festive. And this is really good beer, this Surly Winterized. So that's what I'm drinking tonight, and I'm ready to talk music. Gifford, are you having the traditional?
I'm having my traditional Mick Golden. Yes, I have one cracked here. I have another in reserve, and we're going to get very.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're getting festive this evening. We're going to be festive all month, to be honest. I mean, it's Christmas heavy, so yeah, it's going to be a great time. And of course, it's always great to have Pete back. It's kind of like an early Christmas present for us.
And you know how I love tradition, right? It doesn't get any more traditional than just plain old water. That's what I'm drinking right now.
That's right.
I was getting to that, but
traditional as it gets.
That's right. Pete's going to drive us home after this is over here tonight.
That's right.
All right. Well, we are going to talk music tonight. Now, do you guys know what our most downloaded episode in history? We've been on this show now for almost 4 years. It's going to be 4 years. I can't even believe that when I think about it. But 4 years next.
You know what this is, Brad? It's our senior year.
It's true. I hope we don't pass because we're going to have to come back and do this more. So.
Right.
Yeah. So of all of those years in high school, what was our most downloaded and listened to episode of all time?
That was the Christmas playlist episode.
Hawaii Dad? Oh.
Girl Dad? So in our first season, we did an episode, and if you want to search it up, we hope you will. It's called Pop Culture Yearbook, Christmas Playlists. And we did that the first season. Now, we re-released it last year. So if you're scrolling through our catalog, you don't have to go as far back because it came out last year because people listened to that one. Like it's one that keeps getting found around this time of year. And so we're like, well, let's just put it out again.
It's a gift that just keeps on giving the whole year.
It's like the Jelly of the Month Club. And so in that one, we did not have our current format where we just love drafting and we just draft everything. We're draft crazy here at PCY.
Mm-hmm.
But we made playlists and we based it on one of our favorite shows at that time, which is Playlist Wars. And it was the first time we ever had a guest on our show, and Brian Colburn was on, and he actually wasn't on live with us, but he gave us a little file, and that's part of it. And you can hear that too. A lot of you listening know who he is. He does My Weekly Mixtape now.
Mm-hmm.
But we made playlists, and so there was a little bit of overlap, but we had a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of great songs. We're not going to name them all tonight because we want you to go listen to it, and it's worth your time. If you listen to the show, you got to listen to that one. It's the number one episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, I love Christmas music, that we're going to do it again. The difference is now that we do drafts, we're going to draft them tonight. And there's one caveat is we are not going to talk about any songs that we picked in that episode. So instead of naming them, you go back and listen to it and you can hear. So if you don't hear your favorite Christmas song tonight, it probably got picked already and you can go back and find out who picked it. but I counted about 27 or 28 songs that are off limits to us tonight. But anything
Right.
beyond that is good to go. I think those were probably pretty traditional. There was a lot of really well-known traditional songs picked, as it was our, we're talking about Christmas music and we're going to pick those. But tonight, who knows? Maybe it'll get a little wacky. You guys said it was harder for you to make your list, so maybe things are going to get wild here tonight.
Wacky, wild, weird stuff.
Yes, you are correct, sir. So before we start drafting, let's just talk about Christmas music a little bit. When is it okay to start listening to Christmas music in your home, in your opinion, with you personally, Pete?
In my opinion, you should not listen to Christmas music any earlier than Black Friday. The Friday after Thanksgiving is the traditional time. And in my view, it is the night of Black Friday is when you should first turn your Christmas lights on. But I know you said we're not talking about lights, but this is about music, but it's kind of the same thing. Let Thanksgiving play out and then let Christmas start. That's my opinion.
What about your wife? Like, is there really no Christmas music being played in your house right now? Or we are recording
really
this, by the way, on November 25th. It's right before Thanksgiving. So just to put context in here, that's when we are talking about.
I think last week, over the weekend, she did have it on while putting the Christmas tree up, which I would say is acceptable. But the just listening to music like in the car or any other context should be on the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, tough follow-up question. Why is it okay to put a tree up but not turn your lights on?
Well, it's she's just setting up, putting the tree up. We have 2 trees that we set up. Normally we actually go get a real tree, and I love that tradition, but we didn't do that this year because we got a new kitten this year, and so it'd be too risky. But to answer your question, it is a part of the Christmas tradition to put it up, and so she didn't put all the ornaments up. We don't have anything like that. We just got the trees. We're just getting ready to make it a little less work this following weekend when we're actually doing the fun part, which is putting the ornaments, all that sort of stuff on.
Sounds a little controversial, but I guess we'll accept your explanation.
I hope my wife isn't listening.
How about you, Giff?
Well, I tend to be, I used to be more like Pete, like can't decorate the house before Thanksgiving, no Christmas music before, Thanksgiving is over, don't cheat Thanksgiving out of its time. But as I've grown older and the way I look at it is it's not necessarily a time cutoff. It's more about what you're doing at a particular time. So for example, I get together with my family over MEA, which is mid-October, to do our Thanksgiving and Christmas. My folks leave for Arizona, and we get together early so that we can, have that
MEA for the listeners that may not be from Minnesota. MEA is like a
mid-October.
2-day, it's a teacher's workshop traditionally in mid-October. And Brad, maybe you can. I know you go to the workshops every single year.
Yes, it's a 2-day statewide workshop, Thursday and Friday in the middle of October, and so all the schools are off those 2 days. I've been teaching for 26 years. I've never once attended it. Some people do.
My tax dollars hard at work there.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with your tax dollars. But anyway, so that's a very early celebration for the Giffords there. It's a lot to come in such a different time of year. It must feel a little weird.
Well, and for the last 15 years, I've had kids in hockey, and hockey gets going before Thanksgiving, and to get 5 hours south for Christmas is just a tough thing to do with that kind of schedule that we have. So with that, I think it's fine. Like when we are having our Christmas celebration in mid-October, we're opening our presents to have some Christmas music on. You're in that festive mood. Also, we decorated early because again, our schedule is such that we had a free weekend a couple weekends ago. We got all the Santa bears out and the Christmas tree, got it all decorated. We're ready to go. So again, while you're doing that, you're in the festive mood. Let's play some music. But I will say, like at work, I'm not a fan of starting the Christmas music before you pass Thanksgiving, just because you're going to be hearing it nonstop at work. When I worked at Home Depot, it was just brutal listening to the same station that had, the same playlist that would repeat probably twice
I can
or
see
three
that.
times during the day.
And you're talking
Yeah.
about an actual retail store, not like a
Yeah.
corporate office or anything.
Well, even now at my office, like we've got
Yeah.
a playlist going, and the Christmas music's already up and running, and
Yeah,
I just feel like I get sick of it by the time Christmas comes around, and that's in a work setting. You're not necessarily in a festive mood yet, so that to me gets a little old. So I think it depends personally if you're doing something Christmas related, you're baking cookies or something with the family, like turn the music
Sure.
on. That's the good fun of it. So that's my opinion on it.
All right. So I am open to it, whatever, because I love Christmas music and I'm get sick of it. But my wife has a hard and fast rule, but it's it's not like Pete's. She says the first time you see snow, you turn on the Christmas music. So we had some flurries like in late October. That's that she gets all excited. Once there's flurries out there, she's gonna start listening to it, and I'm okay with that. I love it.
Hold on a minute now. Last year we had hardly any snow all winter. How did she handle that?
I'm sure there were some flurries one day. I
don't know that there really were until January. I
Well,
don't know.
to be fair, the Wild signed Marc-Andre Fleury, so he was around all last hockey season and the season before.
sure
So
there were.
Fleury's always around.
Kim was all over that, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you need a caveat, you could go that route for the Flurries.
So now, if it wasn't for her rule, I would say that mid-November is the earliest you should start. I will listen to it earlier now because she does. But if, like, let's say I was single, probably wouldn't listen to it a whole lot until after Thanksgiving because I am, more on, traditionally on those lines. Same with my lights. But I did turn on. I have all my lights set up outside. I have a really nice display of lights, and I turned them on a few days ago because they're all up and they're ready to go. And my daughter was like, "Aren't you going to turn them on?" And I'm like, "Okay, fine, we'll turn them on." So I turned them on a week earlier than I normally would. Now, we also have a very late Thanksgiving this year. So then I realized, well, you're really not turning them on any earlier than normal. So
that's true. That's true.
So there's that too. There's always that loophole. So, but I don't get sick of it, and my whole family, I love that we love it, and I love that my wife has that fun rule because she'll fudge it a little, but it's like great. If there was a little bit of snow, go ahead, turn it on, let's go.
I like that.
My next question for you is, how do you listen to Christmas music? So Gifford hears it at work, for example, but do you get so sick of it you never listen to it otherwise? Or how do you listen to your Christmas music during the season? We'll start with Gifford this time.
So we've got a couple CDs.
I love
and
that.
We have a CD player, like radio combo in the kitchen. So like, again, if you're cooking, having people over, we'll turn that, we've got like a Perry Como and Bing Crosby one. We've got a Sinatra one. We've got a few different ones that we like to turn on. The other thing too, we'll turn on like just a music station on the TV and just have it on in the background. Or like just turn on a Spotify playlist and let that go. So a lot of it's going to be off of a music service like Spotify, I guess.
I love that you still listen to CDs. So, and up until just recently I did too. So I have like hundreds of CDs still. I don't listen to them very often, but I love that I have them and they're there. But I always had my like Christmas CD section separate, and I'd kind of put them away, but then I'd take them out and I would filter through those, and I'd always have a few in my car. And eventually now, they're all on. I just listen to my Apple Music. So I have, but I have a playlist that I make. So I do not listen to. So my wife loves to just tell Alexa to turn on, Christmas music. But my God, you hear the same 10 songs over and over and over again. And I don't like half of them because they're all like the most famous ones that I can't stand anymore. So I have my own playlist and it's pretty long. And so I don't get too much, but they're the ones I don't get sick of. And so that's my main listen. But if I'm in the car, right now I'm either listening to a podcast, or if I'm caught up on my podcast, then I'm going to have Christmas music on too until December 26th. And,
Nice.
I would get sick of it sometimes if it was just Cool 108, which is the local station, or my playlist. But I currently have Sirius XM, and they have 4 different Christmas stations. So like it's pretty easy to like toggle between all 4 of them and, get some variety. And so
Yeah.
part of the I got a really good deal on Sirius here for several months, and part of the reason I got it was because I knew that in Christmas time I would really use it. Because I'm listening to podcasts all the time. It's what I do now. So
Right.
but that's how I listen. So and really my music listening, unless I'm preparing for a show, like we did our big draft or our big bracket recently. So I'm not listening to something that's preparing for the show. I'm listening to Christmas music nonstop right now. So.
Sure.
Well, okay.
Yeah, like Kim, I'll put on the Alexa. Only it's connected to our Apple, so it really goes through our Apple subscription, and I think you get a decent variety of music. And there's a whole bunch of different playlists that you can select through Apple
If you
Music.
look up a playlist.
Yeah. So you do it that way. Like if you're like, this is dumb or I'm sick of this one, you can always pick a different one. And so that we actually have an Alexa, or it's an Echo, I guess, but you know what I mean. It's in our living room, and we have ceiling speakers that it connects to, so it kind of fills the whole main floor. And so that's generally how we'll do it. If we're like, and it's good, like if you're cleaning the kitchen or doing household chores or just having dinner too. You can just kind of have it in the background, and that's what we'll do. Now, if you're in Jenny's car, she'll have it on Cool 108 during the entire season. The radio will be on Cool 108, which plays basically nonstop Christmas music, and so that's kind of fun when you're driving somewhere. But I guess those would be the 2 kind of main ways that I'm listening to Christmas music now. Like now, I'm home alone during the day myself, so and so again, household chores, whatever. I'll have it going now. So
it's a good point. You can find good playlists and make your own playlists. The problem with ours was, this is when we still used Amazon Music, but Kim would just get up every morning and say, Alexa, play Christmas music. And like not a specific playlist or anything. And it would always start with like the same 3 songs and just play it over and over again.
Yeah.
See, like I'm going to go out and like pick out a playlist to play or whatever, but she doesn't care about figuring any of that out. She's just going to, and she doesn't get sick of it. So that's fine.
If you have it connected to your Apple account, you can say, Alexa, play Christmas music, and it will switch it up. It won't play the same one. Yeah.
We used to have Amazon Music, and we've switched now to, we have Apple now because that's what my son wanted.
Correct.
All right, we've kind of already answered my other question about how often you listen. Sounds like we're pretty big listeners throughout the year, but you're probably ready to tune it out by the end of Christmas Day.
Oh God. Yes.
So to recap our last one, like I said, we drafted, or we didn't draft, we picked a lot of songs, and we probably have about 28 songs that are off limits tonight. We want you to go back and listen to that episode. But we're not going to talk about them now. Again, they might come up. We might mention some of the ones we picked while we're going here, but we're not going to sit here and like recap our entire list for you. We're just going to pick 30 new songs tonight, and we're going to pick 10 each, and we're going to draft, and I'm going to go first. Anything before we get this show on the road that you guys want to say?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Which that was one of Gifford's picks, I think, in the previous one. So
happy holidays.
Wasn't it? It had to be.
I think have yourself. Well,
I picked that too. Anyway.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I'm going to kick this off. Now, I picked a lot of traditional ones in that last one, although I had a few of, the ones that I like too. But I'm going to kick this off. I've got a fun playlist ready to go here tonight, depending on how I get my picks based on if you pick any of them. Got a lot of fun songs, and I'm going to start with some of my more traditional ones because these are the ones that I'm afraid you guys will probably pick. So my first pick was easy. I'm picking a song that I think was kind of like the first cut that we didn't pick that night. This one goes all the way back to 1934. It's played on all the Christmas stations, but really, is it a Christmas song or just a winter song? It charts in the top 40 every year. It's a platinum song, and it's Winter Wonderland. And the version that I love more than any other is Winter Wonderland by Darlene Love. This is just one of the most fun songs. So in our previous one, I picked her song "Christmas Baby Please Come Home," which is off that Phil Spector record from the 60s, which has so many great songs on it. And this is one of the best ones. And when I was listening to this one, the second it kicks in, that song, you just know you're in for a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And Gifford used this in our initials game last week.
I did.
So everybody's done their version, but we're picking the ones we like best too. Mine is Darlene Love. I would give a honorable mention to the Harry Connick instrumental version from the When Harry Met Sally soundtrack, because I always love that one so much too. But
yeah,
that's my number one pick.
All
Pete,
right,
you're going to be next.
My pick is.
You guys all look really confused. Did you think that I picked one that I couldn't pick or something?
Honestly, I did. I was like, I thought maybe it's because it was so top of mind from doing the initials that I thought it was picked, but I just went through the list and it was not picked.
I was going to say, did you not look at your list? I mean,
I looked at them nonstop. I just missed that one.
You made me very nervous there. I thought I made a mistake.
You're good. You're good.
All right.
My first pick will always brings memories of one of the greatest scenes in one of the greatest movies of all time. It just, every time you hear this song, you think of this one particular scene. You cannot stop from laughing, even if you're just listening to this on a radio or whatever. You'll know what I'm talking about when I say the name of the song, which, if I can pronounce it correctly, is Malikilikimaka.
Malikilikimaka.
By Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters is what I had.
All right, so you're going with the Bing Crosby version.
That's a good.
Of course, the swimming pool dream scene in Christmas Vacation is what I'm referring to.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I know I didn't have to explain that to you guys at all, but the listener, yes.
What was that, Brad?
Is that the Bing Crosby version that's in Christmas Vacation?
I think it is.
Yeah, pretty sure it is.
For some reason, I had in my head that it seemed like it was Dean Martin, but
I don't think so. I think it's the Bing Crosby version. That's what I had written down as well. Was the Bing Crosby
when you started
version.
describing that, Pete, I thought you were going to blow it right away because it sounded like you were going to pick that Spirit of Christmas, the great scene from the great movie, and you think of. But that's one we covered. So
no, this one actually, I'm surprised that we didn't pick it last time around. I was like, we're
going to have a lot of those.
It's a ubiquitous Christmas song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, much in the same way when we did our picks, our playlist last time, I was listening back to that episode in preparation for this, and you guys I was kind of the stinker, not given the bingo of having being the guy who had the third, the same song on mine that you guys had. So that's a little bit why we had maybe some of these great ones left over, because we did pair up so many times on that one. All right, so my first pick, I'm going to stick with a song that was in Christmas Vacation as well. I'm going with "Here Comes Santa Claus," the Gene Autry from 1947. This reached number 5 on the Hot Country Singles chart in 1948. And every time I hear it, I just see that scene of all the policemen coming onto the lawn and breaking into the house towards the end of Christmas Vacation. But it's a great one, and I'm glad I got it here with the third overall pick.
The Gene Autry version is great, and that is a great scene. That's a great reason to pick that one there. All right, well, I'm going to take us back out of Christmas Vacation, and I'm going to go back to the same album that I already started with, that had Winter Wonderland on it by Darlene Love. I'm going with, there's tons of good versions of this. This is another one of those songs that, you hear all the time, and it's a fun song. It started as an instrumental song in the late 40s, and the lyrics were added in 1950. This one charts every year. It was number 8 just last year. It's the second highest charting song ever by the Ronettes, who sang "Be My Baby," and it is Sleigh Ride. Sleigh Ride by the Ronettes, also off the Phil Spector Christmas album, is my second choice.
See, I had
these two songs are so fun. I mean, they're the upbeat version, not a slowed down, I'm out for fun here.
Well, and with your second pick, you've blown up my playlist because I was hoping to get that one. But I like the Ella Fitzgerald version from 1960.
I love all the
little more
Ella Fitzgerald
jazzy,
versions too.
and that one was also featured in Elf. So
Yes,
I like
yes, it is.
Yeah.
I did pick "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" by Ella Fitzgerald because I love how that's a little jazzier and not quite as downbeat as that song can be, which is one of my favorite Christmas songs. But if we were picking albums, like her jazzy Christmas album would be one of the best ones.
Yeah.
All right. You want
Now
an
that Gifford's
upbeat
got to
song?
scramble here while you're picking because I knew that would be one that one of you would want there.
I got a fun one that I enjoy, sort of a classic rock song. I'm taking you from Hawaii. Now I was in Hawaii in the last pick. Now I'm going to St. Louis. I'm going with Chuck Berry, "Run Rudolph Run."
Right. That is one I have on my honorable mentions for later if I needed it, but I have the Foo Fighters version.
I have that
You know
as
that they sang that?
The Chuck Berry one is a little more, classic.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's obviously great, but if you didn't know the Foo Fighters have a version, you should check it out because it's pretty great.
We'll check it out.
So this song reached number 69 in 1958 on the Hot 100.
Nice.
but then in 2021, it reached the top 10, and it was Barry's first top 10 hit since 1972's "My Ding-a-Ling."
Gifford classic right there.
So I don't know if you know this, Pete, but yeah, that was one that I was also hoping to get on my list. Had a little research on. So that hurts.
That's in a movie we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, probably, Home Alone. That's the song that plays when they're running through the airport, is it not? In Home Alone?
Is it?
I don't know. I feel like it is. I'd have to see it again.
It seems like it probably would be. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that I'm correct on that.
All right.
Somebody can email us and tell us that I'm stupid if you want, but I think that's right.
Okay, so Pete got that one. I'm gonna go top of my list here. This is one that was hard for me to leave off of my playlist last time. I am going with John Williams' version of "Carol of the Bells," also from Home Alone. This charts at number 86 on the all-time holiday charts.
I've got a question on the rules. Can we have the same song but by a different artist? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, because I had the Mannheim Steamroller one on my upcoming list. I was going to make that as one of my next picks for Carol of the Bells. But
so this is the time to bring it up. That's why I brought up the Foo Fighters version of "Run Rudolph Run" there.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So "Carol of the Bells," great classic song. I didn't realize that was John Williams. I mean, I guess he did the music for the movie, right? But so he.
Yeah. Well, and like all of these songs, there are multiple artists that have recorded it, but that's the one. Yeah, that's the one I'm going with.
And then now I'm picturing, I got to protect my house, and he's running late from the church to his house because that's when this song is played. I mean, that's the beauty of these songs. Like, you know exactly when you know them from these movies because you've watched them 100 times.
Illicit memories of music and moments of your life.
All right. Well, I'm keeping the party going here with the fun songs, and now I'm going to a little bit more. My first two were much more traditional from a long time ago. I'm going to one that's, I mean, it's 30 years old, but it's a newer Christmas song. And this is by an artist that we all love, and we've all done a album of his very early in our run of this show. So this is a song that I feel like I missed, like when it came out. Like, it wasn't on my traditional list until just like 2 or 3 years ago. Then I started hearing it more again, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is Tom Petty. And I was like, this song is freaking great. And it's crazy that I didn't have it on my list. So Tom Petty wrote the song "Christmas All Over Again," which he wrote it on a ukulele from George Harrison for the Very Special Christmas Volume 2 from 1992. It's the green cover one of the Very Special Christmas. And the reason why this fits perfectly here is because it's a great song, but he was actually emulating the sounds, the big sounds of the Phil Spector album that my first two songs came from. Like he loved that album too, and he was trying to write a song that would fit in like with those and that feel. And he nailed it. Tom Petty, Christmas All Over Again. I mean, it's one of my favorites, and it's a shame that I hadn't been listening to it until just a couple of years ago regularly.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Pete, what's
Anybody
your
have that
third
one on
pick?
your list?
I did not have it on my list.
No, go listen to it, and you will.
I got one that's a little bit sexy. How's that?
Oh, that's my next one too. I wonder what you're picking.
I'm going with Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt.
Okay, that's not the one I was thinking of, but yeah, that makes sense. So the good original Eartha Kitt version.
That's correct.
Yeah, this
Nobody
one came
has a
out in
sexier
50,
voice than Eartha Kitt.
No,
Smoldering.
this
one of
came
those
out in
songs.
53. Her version, yeah, the original.
That's one of those songs that like I really don't like much anymore because I've heard it so many times. But her version is clearly the best. Part of the reason why I don't like it is there's so many bad versions. The Madonna version is unlistenable to me. She's trying to do that voice and that. I mean, it's and then there's other bad ones too. So
You can't
So as long as
replicate Eartha Kitt.
as long as we're sticking with Eartha Kitt, then you got a good choice there.
That's my
Right.
pick.
All right, I am gonna go with one of the classics here, one of the classic singers in Nat King Cole from 1960, "Deck the Halls." This one reached number 16 on the Hot 100 and number 13 on the Holiday 100.
I have been on record as saying there's probably no better singer of Christmas music and no more perfect voice than Nat King Cole. That is one of my favorite albums. One of those CDs that I have that I would listen to all the time. We talked
I remember
about him
we had the
sitting at
record.
table.
We had the record, the Nat King Cole Christmas record back on the old farm, and we would put it on.
There you go. That sounds awesome.
It was. I don't think we still have it, but
All right. Well, Pete and me, we've been on the same page on some of these before. He said he had kind of a sexy song, and I feel like that describes my next pick here.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's supposed to be, but it just comes across that way. It's very sultry, and it sounds like a couple sitting around late at night after Christmas is done and just sitting on the couch and, having a good time. I knew this song originally from the Time Life album. So one of the albums that I listened to over and over, but there was like that 10-song Time Life album that had a bunch of the classics on it. It had Jingle Bell Rock. It had the Beach Boys. It had, I don't know what else, probably had Gene Autry on there. But this is the one that was kind of like that sneaky song that I didn't really know that much. It was first recorded in 1947 by Charles Brown, but then he also recorded several more versions, including, I think the main one is from 1956. And that is Merry Christmas Baby by Charles Brown. And it's just such a great song, and it has such a vibe to it. And then there's another great version too by Otis Redding. Like you could pick the Otis Redding version as well. But I'm going to stick with the one that I knew first and best, and that's Charles Brown.
Excellent.
very good. Well, I'm going one.
Christmas tree.
I'm going one with one that I'm sure that we'll hear this one ad nauseum at a party that I'll be going to next week. You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch by Thurl Ravenscroft. I almost said Ravenclaw. But this is the original one. It's the original.
Mm-hmm.
I always prefer to go with the originals on these lists when we pick these songs, but it's always a fun one. I enjoy listening to it when it comes on. And it's one that we go driving around every year when we look at Christmas lights. There are a few, there's probably a few down by you guys too, but where you park on the street and turn it to a radio station, and then the house will flash according to the music that you're listening to. And there's a house that has like a whole Grinch set up. And when the song comes on, it's really awesome. But yeah, this is a fun one.
Excellent. All right,
That's another classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And speaking of classics, we're staying in the classics here. This song dates back to 1818 in Austria. It is the most recorded Christmas song ever with 137,000 recordings. But I'm going to take the Bing Crosby recording from 1947, and that is Silent Night.
Okay. Bing Crosby again, Silent Night.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the classics, man.
You are. That is one, as a little kid, that was one of my very first favorite Christmas songs. I loved that song. I loved that we had it in church, and we would always listen to it at the end of the night with the candles lit in church. And I mean, that was like the greatest thing.
I learned how to play a pretty intricate version of that on the piano, and I loved playing that at home growing up as a kid. I just absolutely loved that song. It's just so pretty.
You played the piano, huh? I've never even heard that before.
That's why I took the Liberace of
you
Russell.
had to be a drummer, right?
I took 3 years. I needed 2 to be a drummer, but I'm like Ishmael. I do everything 50% more than the Quakers, so I took 3 years instead of just 2. And
the funny thing is, I only took 1.5 years, and they still let me be a drummer because Mr. Steen, my teacher, here's the famous quote that he told my mom, that it was a waste of his time and her money, because I was so uninterested, and I didn't try, and I did not like it.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't a fan either.
He kicked me out.
He was my teacher as well. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if have I heard that story? That's a great story.
I don't know.
All right. What say you for, what are we up to, 4?
5. We're on number 5.
5?
And I'm on my number 5
pick.
Yep. I'm taking a traditional one again here. I'm probably going to take one that one of you guys might have later. This is one of the most traditional Christmas songs ever. It can be, not a great song because it's very just by the book. It can be boring. But there's 2 versions in particular that I love. A great example of how it can be boring is in my favorite show, the Charlie Brown Christmas special, where Lucy asks Schroeder to play it, and he plays the fancy version, and she doesn't like it, and he has to keep stripping it down to just and then she loves it. So this is from 1850. It is Jingle Bells. It is one of the first songs ever transmitted from space.
Wow.
The Frank Sinatra version charts every year, and that is I love those Jingie bells. But there's also a Michael Bublé version. We love that CD.
Easy for you to say.
And Michael Bublé does this great version with like they sound like 40s style like women that sing with him. So it's newer, but it has that old feel to it. And so between the Frank Sinatra and the Michael Bublé version, Jingle Bells is awesome and it rocks again. And so they give me something to listen to there. So that's my pick. I'm picking Frank Sinatra, I guess, for the tradition, but I'm going to write both names down because they're both equally great.
See, and I've got Dean Martin's 1966 on my list. This is the first secular Christmas song written in 1850, and it is the most commonly sung Christmas song. Great pick.
There you go.
That is a great pick. One that I think is kind of fun, and this is, I'm sure you guys probably don't have it on any of your lists, but it's by the Bare Naked Ladies and Sarah McLachlan. It's God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
Well, I know that
was a fun one when it comes on, yeah.
Yep.
I like the Bare Naked Ladies. I like their music. I always used to, and how they don't take themselves too seriously, and so always a good time listening to them.
That is a good one. So it's Sarah McLachlan with them.
That's what I had down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I just didn't really. I knew it was them and Sarah Mc. Okay.
All right. I am going with What Christmas Means to Me from Stevie Wonder, 1967.
It's like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, this hit number 42 on the Hot 100 and is number 76 all time for charting on the holiday charts.
All right. I have a different Stevie Wonder coming up later that I had on my list. He's got some good ones.
Yeah, he does.
All right.
Are we halfway home already?
We are through 5. We are halfway there.
Wow.
We're gonna flip it over. So the next one is one that neither of you would ever have on your radar, because I do have some, of course, that I love. So I'm always looking for new Christmas CDs over the last few years, or Christmas albums. And one of my favorite artists is Casey Musgraves. I've seen her in concert twice. My daughter loves her. She's a country singer, but she's kind of like the poppy country, but not like the bro country that I don't like. Like good country. She's poppy and traditional at the same time. So she has just a fantastic Christmas album. She even did a Amazon TV show version of it too, like 2 years ago. And she has one of the songs I like on there is a duet with Leon Bridges, who's also this great, just smooth, soulful voice. And they have a song called "Present Without a Bow." And together they sound great. It's a melancholy kind of cozy feeling. It's about missing out on your partner, but the real present being, getting them back. It's fantastic.
Beautiful.
All right. My pick now. I got a fun one that is in a great Christmas classic, a Christmas special, which I know we all love. It's sort of a secondary song, though, in the special. I don't know if a lot of people will think of this, but it is a great, fun song. I have "Silver and Gold" by Burl Ives in the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special.
Yep.
That is a great one.
It is.
You know who else would like that one? Yukon Cornelius.
That's right.
Silver!
All right. What's next on my list here? All right. Brad took Jingle Bells. That is the first secular Christmas song ever written. I'm going to take the second oldest secular Christmas song from 1857, but I'm going to take Gene Autry's 1953 version, and that is "Up on the Housetop." Reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus.
2 Gene Autry songs.
Yeah.
He's good.
Very good.
One of those that I heard a lot and loved a lot as a kid. I don't hear that one as much anymore. That's kind of one that's kind of fallen away a little bit. It's good.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
All right. My next one, I'm bringing back so I kind of calmed down there for a bit. I had a couple like sexy and fun songs or not, just kind of calmer, but I'm going to bring it back hard now. I'm going to a punk Christmas song. And the first time I heard this, I knew how much I loved it. I'm going "Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight" by the Ramones. This is just a classic Ramones sounding song. It's a unique Christmas song because it's a punk song. The lyrics are awesome. And "Christmas ain't the time for breaking each other's hearts" is my favorite line here. So "Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight." Joey Ramone. I can't talk tonight. I can't see Bublé or Ramone.
It's that winterize kicking in.
All right. I'm taking us all over the world tonight. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to St. Louis. We're going to go to Mexico now. I'm going to go.
This isn't what I was thinking.
"Feliz Navidad" by Jose Feliciano.
Nice.
I thought you were going to pick "Christmas All Over the World" by Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, no, not quite that. Yeah, not quite that world traveling just yet anyway. But I'm going with "Feliz Navidad."
It's Jose Feliciano, correct?
Jose Feliciano.
That's one of those songs that was on that Time Life album as well. That's a song I like, but man, am I sick of it. It's just, they play it all the time.
That's with most of these songs, though.
That's what I love, finding versions though that you like of songs that you didn't. So like going back to Casey Musgraves, like I don't the Chipmunks song is like, I mean, really, it's the Chipmunks, but she does her version of that song, "Christmas Don't Be Late" by the Chipmunks, and it's great. She also does a version of "I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas," which could be one of the more annoying songs of all time.
That is the most annoying
great.
one.
When she sings it, it's great, and you don't hate it anymore. So I love finding ones that, a song I got sick of, but then somebody put out a new version that like is better.
Classics that they've actually fixed So many
Yes.
songs, so many times they try and remake a good classic and it just breaks it and it ruins the song. But these are classics that they have actually fixed on a remake. That's an episode. There's a show. That's a show. We can talk about remade
Put it on the
classics that are better.
Okay, Gifford looks like he's hard at work over there making his next pick.
Yep, I think I might have it here. From 1996, Christmas Eve Sarajevo 1224 from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. This one hit number 34 on Billboard's Hot Adult Contemporary Track Chart, but it peaked at number 29 on the Hot Mainstream Rock Charts in 98.
You know what that song is, Gifford?
It's a banger.
That is a banger. You got it right. There is no Christmas song that rocks harder than that. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't expect it. And then they just hit you right in the face.
Right in the face. Yes.
So I picked them on our previous one, the song I love, Christmas Canon, which isn't a banger in the same sense, but it's like one of my all-time favorite songs.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But between the two songs, like, man, they cover a lot of ground and they're pretty great.
Totally agree.
All right. I'm gonna skip ahead in my list here to a more traditional one because it's one that might get picked by one of you here pretty soon. So I'm gonna go to my favorite guy, Dean Martin. Song written in 1945 and it was released in 1959. This song charts every year since 2018 as well. It reached number 7 last year, and that is "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow" by Dean Martin.
Oh.
And of course, there's lots of good versions, but I like his.
I do
the
too.
one that I have...
or if you wanted to call it, you could call it "Les Tits Now." Sometimes.
Thanks, Sean.
The one that I have actually next on my list is one that you just brought up. You can think it's an annoying song. I do think it's annoying too at times, but also it's good and it's a lot of fun and I enjoy it when it comes on. It is the Chipmunk song, "Christmas Don't Be Late." Of course, the original by Alvin and the Chipmunks.
And you're right. I don't hate that one actually.
No, the one I do hate is "Hippopotamus." That is a dreadful song.
But once I hear this other version of somebody singing it like more straightforward, it's like, wow, that actually is pretty normal song. If it's not Alvin, but I don't mind Alvin either. A couple times a year.
Okay, we're on pick number 8 here. Is that correct?
We are. Pick number 8.
Okay. All right, I am gonna go with one that puts me in the mood to enjoy Christmas and enjoy the movie that I'm about to watch.
I was wondering where he was going there.
This comes from 4-time Grammy winner Mavis Staples. This is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation title song.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, the title song.
It's the cartoon of Santa Claus.
Yep. In the opening credits. Christmas Vacation, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Put you in the right mood, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And when Santa Claus jumps off the couch and instead of going through the skylight, he goes through the roof. I love that. I love that visual every time.
And I told the story of how I bought that CD because a few years ago you couldn't get the Ray Charles song on any streaming.
Mm-hmm.
You can now, thankfully, but you couldn't forever. And I found a copy of Christmas Vacation CD on eBay and paid $35 for it because it was the only one. And Kim is like, "You got to get that. You love that song so much. It's like your favorite scene ever." And so, anything off that album is going to be great, in my opinion, as well. Okay, I'm going for another modern classic here, and by modern I mean in our lifetimes. But this is a hybrid song that took a classic and added a piece to it. It's this classic mashup. The video of these two singing it on a TV special in 1977 is iconic. It's "Peace on Earth" / "Little Drummer Boy" by Bing Crosby and David Bowie. And I had always read, I swear to God, I'd heard the story that Bing Crosby he did not like this. Like, he was upset. He didn't like that David Bowie insisted on, because they were supposed to sing "The Little Drummer Boy." and David Bowie didn't like that, and he wanted to add to it. But my most recent research shows that Bing actually loved the challenge of the arrangement, and it was actually a really good duet, and they both liked it. It's kind of the surreal, weird, out of nowhere thing they did, and you hear it every year. It's a great song. When David Bowie chimes in with the Peace on Earth, it's magic.
All right. Here's a group that I could see how some people could find this annoying too, but like especially at Christmas, I think they're good. I think it's amazing what they do. It's Pentatonics. I'm going with Angels We Have Heard on High. It's just a beautiful version. The a cappella stuff. We did watch that show, The Sing Off. That's how they became famous. It was with Ben Folds as one of the judges. That was a great show. It was one of the best of all these stupid contest reality shows. It was the most entertaining, I thought, and then they discontinued it. I don't know why.
I don't know why. Well, I like Ben Folds.
Yep.
He could put out a good Christmas album. That's for sure.
Yeah. Sarah Bareilles was one of the other judges on that show, and I can't remember who the third one was.
All right, my ninth selection here. I am going to go with a song that came out in 1952, but I'm taking the 1987 version from John Mellencamp. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I like how he adds a little flair to the music in that, and I just really enjoy that.
Also version. Done by the Jackson 5.
Also more famously done by the Jackson 5, but I like the Mellencamp version.
And it's just John Mellencamp? It's not like a duet or something? I didn't...
No, it's just John Mellencamp.
Okay. That's what I thought. Just double checking.
Yep.
All right. My last pick already. See, and here's the deal. I mean, I could do this all again.
I'm just hoping you guys don't snipe my last pick here.
Oh, I'm not gonna. The ones I've got left here are ones that are very specific. And in fact, I'm gonna go with, so I want to keep this kind of in. We just finished 1996 and we did this whole thing on 1996 albums. So one album that I didn't put on my list that we did our bracket on was a Christmas album by Rhino Records, a sampler called Music to Stuff Any Stocking. And it came out in 1996. And I got it from my brother-in-law, Craig, who worked for that retailer, and he had a copy and gave it to me. And that thing is just filled with kick-ass bangers of songs. That the Ramones are on there. That's one of them on there. That's where I first heard that song. You've got the Kinks' Father Christmas, which is one of my next songs on my list. Alan Jackson is on there. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. The famous song Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses is on there. The Jackson 5, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. There's so many. Eartha Kitt, Santa Baby's on there. It's a great mix of like traditional songs and then like these newer kind of unique songs that maybe you hadn't thought of. And the one that I love that I haven't yet picked is by the Staple Singers, and it's called Who Took the Merry Out of Christmas. So the Staple Singers sang a song, I'll Take You There, which you would know that one. They're very soulful and gospel-like. There's lots of voices. It has one of those kind of like Pentatonics, like that a cappella feel, even though it's not a cappella, because there's so many voices. And there's all these like ums and noises going on in the background. I bet you've heard it if you hear it. You might not know what I'm talking about by the title, but it's Who Took the Merry Out of Christmas by the Staple Singers. It's really good. And it's very unique. It's unlike most of these other songs that we've picked.
Sweet.
And I wanted to include that 1996 album because I felt like that was, fitting after we just talked about all that.
Awesome.
All right.
Pete, what do you have to finish off your big list here?
Got a couple of them. I don't think we've said this one. I know we've said Nat King Cole, but I don't think we've said "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem." His version of it is really. This is one that takes me back to, growing up and being a kid and going over to your grandparents, and this is the kind of music that they would have on, and it just sort of spelled Christmas for you. You could smell what was in the oven cooking, and just fantastic. So I'm going with "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem" by Nat King Cole.
Very nostalgic.
Yes, we love that on this show.
That's great one to finish on.
Well, last week, towards the end of that episode, we got into, or it might have not been at the end, but we talked about our favorite Christmas movie, correct? And the three of us, I think, all settled on Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. pretty much.
And so I am going to take, I believe, my third song from my favorite Christmas movie, and maybe this is why I love the movie as much as I do. This comes from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees from 2000 and 1953, The Moonglows with Hey Santa Claus.
Hey Santa Claus. Hey
And
Santa
that
Claus.
is
I knew it.
the beginning of one of the best scenes in that whole movie.
This
When
where
they're out
they're at the
shopping.
mall. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
shopping
yeah.
scene.
Yeah, bit nipply
The-
out there. Did I say
The
nipple?
moon glows.
The moon glows.
Is that one word or two?
One word.
Okay.
Hey,
Not the
Santa Claus.
catalog,
Hey,
not in the
hey,
sense I
Santa
thought I
Claus. She's not dead yet. So yeah, that
Shit.
is my final pick. Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
All right.
Okay.
So I don't know how many more you guys got, but you didn't pick a single song in my top 11. Every one that I had ready to go, and I kind of figured that would happen if I picked, strategically.
Mhm.
The one song in my top 11 I didn't pick is another very unique one. Do you remember the song from the 90s, Novocaine for the Soul by the Eels? You would know it the second you heard
I'm
it. It was
sure if I
great 90s one-hit wonder, even though they've been around for a long time. But they put a song out called Everything's Gonna Be Cool This Christmas. It's kind of like the Tom Petty song, where it's so fun, and it has a similar kind of feel to it. It's upbeat. I wanted to pick that one, but I picked 10 instead of 11. I'm going to run through the rest of mine here.
go ahead.
So Chris Isaak, we've talked about many, many times. He's one of my favorite guys. Washington Square off his first Christmas CD is one of my favorite songs. Christmas on TV on that is also great. He has 2 Christmas albums out now. The first one was much better than the second one, but they're both great. Another Casey Musgraves original is called Ribbons and Bows. I mentioned off that one album, The Waitress's Christmas Wrapping. Everybody knows that song. The Kinks' Father Christmas. Here's somebody I don't like, but I just can't get rid of the song. I'm not a Katy Perry fan in any way, but the song Cozy Little Christmas, which you'd think I would just hate, I don't. Like I can't. I love it. Whenever I hear it, I love it. And it's so lame and it's so against type for me. Traditional one we didn't pick yet is Silver Bells. Dean Martin or Stevie Wonder are my favorite versions. I got to give some love to my wife's favorite Christmas CD, Kenny and Dolly. The songs I Believe in Santa Claus and Hard Candy Christmas are classics from the 80s. Bing Crosby, my very first Christmas CD I ever bought. And I love the song You're All I Want for Christmas, which I always got confused when the Mariah Carey came on. It's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Like,
Yeah.
but they were the same song, but then I read another totally different songs with very similar titles. The Stevie Wonder song I wrote down is Someday at Christmas. Love that one. I love the Band-Aid song, Do They Know It's Christmas? You can say whatever you want about that. One of my other first favorite CDs was Harry Connick's one. I Pray on Christmas and It Must Have Been Old Santa Claus. Those are 2 great ones. There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays by Perry Como. And to finish off, I got a Nat King Cole one on here too. Caroling. I love Caroling by Nat King Cole.
Lovely.
So, and I could go on. Like you guys named like Silver and Gold and Feliz Navidad and Mele Kalikimaka. I didn't even think of any of those. And
Oh,
those
really?
I
had all 3 of those on my list.
Yeah, they're pretty obvious, and I didn't even think of them. I could do this 10 more times.
Yeah.
Pete, what else do you
Pete-
have?
We
Pete,
pretty
what do
much
you got?
covered everything that that I really wanted to get to. There's nothing that I have that really hasn't been said, so I'm just going to turn it over to Gifford.
The last one that I left off, "O Come All Ye Faithful" from Nat King Cole, 1962. I don't know which version I would have picked. I think I just would have picked whatever elementary school you're at for their Christmas concert, and it's always the last song of the night, and that is "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and the kids just get into it so much. They hit that wish so hard. I just love it.
That song, I was going to bring that up. That is just the weirdest song, though, too.
It is so. Yes.
You go from wishing a Merry Christmas to, now give us some figgy pudding.
Figgy pudding.
Very demanding.
And it's so demanding. And it's like, what are you listening to here? And who wrote this shit? But yeah, it's a classic.
It is.
Especially when
I have thought that about this song.
I have got Shirley Temple's "I'm Getting Nuttin' for Christmas." Spike Jonze's "All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth." Gene Autry's "Frosty the Snowman's" always a good one. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from Harry Connick Jr. is an excellent version.
Yeah, I love that version and the Dean Martin. Those are my favorites of Rudolph.
And then two more I have down here. Of course, "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer" is just a fun listen. And I think Pete might have brought it up on our last one, and that's the SNL's "Do It on My Twin Bed."
No, he did pick Dick in a Box.
That's the one.
He did pick Dick in a Box, yes.
But we did not bring up "Do It on My Twin Bed," so that's a good one to bring up there.
No, I thought he brought it up as something during the episode.
You know, I might have. Now that you,
I think he did. Yeah,
but I didn't actually.
I haven't re-listened to it, so I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what I had left out of the ones that you guys didn't mention.
All right. Hey, Gifford.
Well, hold on a second, Pete. Don't hold your question for 1 second. So next week, we are going to get into our favorite toys that we received for Christmas in our childhoods, and then we're also going to cover the big toys for each year from 1980 to 1989. So
let me clarify. Yeah. It doesn't have to be your favorite toys received on Christmas. It's just overall toys. This is my episode. I'm saying it doesn't have to be for Christmas. So
that's good. Just I wouldn't be able to remember enough toys that I got to do that. So
your favorite or best toys of all time.
Gifford found a great list of the biggest toys every year. I think we were going to do through our senior year, like 94. I thought.
I thought you had on there 80 through 89, but whatever
so
you want
to do. We're going to do, it's going to be some really good nostalgia with that one, talking about, when we were kids and the toys that were big and what we got and what we remembered. So it's going to be great.
That'll be good. Yep. Should be fun. Yeah. Hey, Gifford.
Hey, what?
What band is going to be hanging their balls in your Christmas tree this year?
Well, once again this year, that's going to be Preacher Row.
All right.
Yeah,
hey, it's tradition.
It is. It is tradition in the Gifford household.
All right.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your song is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. And start to me on my back. I turn and I look to you. I'm scared but there's nothing I can do.